still, as a follower of Jesus, I'm still to be marked by love.
David kind of gave us a glimpse of that. He said, I'm never going to give anything to God that isn't of value.
There probably are people who would love for God to speak to them. Are you ready to hear what he has to say?
I mean, like, I physically had to say, okay, and open up my hands and say, what do you want to do here?
But I think doing life with one another isn't just showing up at a coffee shop, going through a book and talking about it and going home.
Welcome to episode 51 of Radiant Reflections podcast of the Radiant Life Church in Sturgis, Michigan. Surprise! You are here for the Radiant Wives Takeover edition. I'm Katie Bibb, wife of Pastor Ryan Bibb, here at Radiant Life Church.
And I am Lisa Brown. My husband is Pastor Josh Brown, or Pastor JB as you might know him, and he is the worship leader.
And I'm Amy Kinsey. I'm the kids director here, but I'm also the wife of Pastor Brandon Kinsey, who is our community and Next Steps pastor.
And I'm Nicole Herrema. My husband is the assistant pastor, Josh Herrema. Yeah. That's it.
That's us.
And we just wanted to start by saying that we're excited, but we've never done this before. We're all pretty nervous, but we are excited to share some of our hearts and maybe some of our messy journey through this life with all of you. Are you ready for this?
Dun, 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 dun.
The real question is, are they ready for this?
That's awesome. I thought it'd be fun to just start by sharing a fun fact or something interesting about ourselves with all of you. So the first I was going to share first is that I am secretly a Mario Kart champion. So when I was younger, I didn't really like video games too much, but I played them some. But I discovered as an adult a couple years ago that I'm really good at Mario Kart. And this year for New Year's Eve, we had a championship tournament, and I won. So
Kick your booty. My fun fact is that when I was younger, I played a lot of different instruments. I kind of considered myself a jack of many trades, but a master of none. If I could have more time and stuff, I would totally love to be a female drummer, rocker chick, and maybe even get a tattoo someday. I don't know.
And my fun fact is, it might be obvious, but unlike the rest of my family, I actually don't have any musical ability and cannot play an instrument or sing at all.
Nice.
yeah, very interesting.
Mine is, I can break my finger or dislocate it. And I'll show you guys that are watching. And those of you who are listening, because you can always come up to me and ask to see my finger trick. Are you ready?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that's my fun fact.
That never gets old.
I like that trick.
That's good.
Yeah. I think, which is really cool about us, other than us, because I love you guys, but we all have been in ministry different lengths of time. We've all been in different roles. And so I think that's what makes this podcast unique, is that we can all share that and get different perspectives. And we're not all the assistant pastor. We haven't all been the youth pastor wife. We haven't all been the lead pastor wife or worship leader wife. So I don't know, I guess, but there's some similarities in that, and that our husbands are on the front of everybody. They see them. They are the face of the church, and their role is very visible. So how do you maintain your own sense of identity being married to someone who is always in front of others?
Well, I'm going to kick that one off. So this is something actually I haven't been doing very good at lately, because I'm learning that I haven't really been taking care of myself very well. I think with being a mom of 6 kids, and my baby is 1, he's almost 2, and definitely getting in terrible twos, and then my oldest being 12, and then you add ministry on top of that, I just feel like I was in a state where I was just letting my identity go. My identity became the busyness of life and taking care of my children and trying to set my husband up for success. I think in that process, I lost a little bit of who's Nicole Herrema, though. I'm like, well, I'm the mom, I'm the pastor's wife. But really, I think Jesus kind of revealed to me that he has more for me. Like, those are good things, but I know that there's more. And I kind of hit a place in my life where I was just, probably about 2 years ago, hit a dark place. And I was like, okay, something's wrong inside of me. And I was like, Jesus, what do we do? I don't really know who I am. I don't know what the next step is. And he just very lovingly just kind of revealed to me that you need to take time to heal. And so I was like, okay, who's Nicole Herrema now? And so I actually went to counseling, and that helped a lot. I learned that my self-talk was very negative, very sharp. My mind was not a very safe place for me. And I've continued to try and learn, and so learning through like different podcasts, like Made for This by Jenny Allen was just a really good podcast. It just kind of helps me to continue. How do I become a healthy person? And my mind is better when it's learning and growing, and then also taking time to just slow down and be like, okay, what do I need right now? Like, even little things like, am I tired? Do I need to like rest? Because I just push through that, you don't take time. Did I drink any water today? But I'm just going. But I'm learning that, that self-sacrifice is and not taking care of yourself is not the best way to go. So just doing that, and then also making sure that you get time to just check in with Jesus, even if it's just small, like, God, I need to write you today and journal. And so things like that. And I think all of these things have really helped me learn like who I am and learning to continue, that journey. I've joined a different group that also helps with like kind of body, soul, and mind. So I've got some accountability behind it. And it's just the process I'm at right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
And I think, hearing you talk, I realize, I think what you're talking about, I was there in that same spot, a few years ago. And I think it's really easy to do, especially when you have a lot of kids and they're little. And so when my kids finally got to that point where they were at least semi-independent, nobody was in toddlers, nobody was in diapers, any of that stuff. I started a really small side business for myself. Nothing major, nothing, big. I was still able to be home, but it was something that was mine. And it wasn't about, earning money. It wasn't about, any of that. I maybe have like $20 in my bank account that's mine. But it was really nice, I think, to be able to have something that was mine and to even just kind of prove to myself that, I can do something other than just like, be a mom and a wife and still kind of like just do something. And so that was really, really good for me. And I think that's important that we all find that in some way, something that's just for us, And then I think the other side of that, for me anyways, is, finding my own sense of identity in that, you just have to know where you're called. And like, if I'm called to be at home, then I am, and I'm fine with that. And, my kids are getting bigger. It's probably not going to be forever, but I'm fine with that if that's what it means, I would be ridiculous if I tried to get up on stage and play the guitar. I can't do that, but especially now that we have kids who are older, they're gifted like their dad, they're getting up and serving. And if I have teenagers who are willing and able to get up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday, I will be more than happy to make their breakfast and make sure their clothes are clean and to stop and get them their coffee on the way to church like I always do. Those are things I can do right now to make sure that it's easier for them to at least, learn how to walk in their gifts and learn how to do those things. And so, it's not the most glorified position.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's where I am right now, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Jesus
Yeah.
came to serve.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good to know where you're supposed to be and live into that calling. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And being confident in that calling, I think, like you had said, like knowing this is my purpose and this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amy, did you have anything to share? Are you good?
I think just for me, personally, like I really need like a close knit of people that I can share my heart with. And that's why I said, like in the beginning, like you guys are awesome. Like we're awesome. I love you guys. And it's true, because even though we have different roles, our husbands have different roles, we still at least understand what it's like to have that person, our husband, in the spotlight, and know what it looks like as far as like on your family, how it affects your family and how it affects you, and just being able to process with somebody who has a similar thing. So.
Yeah, able to walk alongside
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And knows the ups and downs and can
Yeah.
support you through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge.
Yeah, because I think it's easy to put a mask on, and then, you know, then you're kind of stuck in a hard place. And so having those people, you can really shed the mask,
Yeah.
and it's okay to be vulnerable, even though that's hard.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help, even though you might not want to. But that's critical. You have to ask for help. You can't do life alone.
Yeah.
And I think too, it helps you recognize like other people who may live in the spotlight as well, and understanding that they're actually human and not just that role.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken it personally to not introduce people in ministry as like this is their ministry role. Like, oh, this is Nicole. She's the assistant pastor's wife. You know, it's like, no, this is my friend Nicole,
Right.
or maybe this is my new friend if I don't know them very well or just getting to know them, because they're more than just that role that their husband is in or their spouse, for those who are in different
Yeah. Yeah.
roles like that in the community.
That's good. All right, so our next question. You guys ready?
Fire away, Nicole. Fire away.
I'm ready. So what are some struggles that you think are unique to being married to a pastor that weren't issues when you were married to, let's say, I don't know, a builder, or wasn't Ryan originally a researcher and
Scientist.
science guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of hit on it a little bit just with like how being introduced. But I think and I think anybody who has like a public role, like a doctor or a firefighter or police, like they're on call all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know that people realize that pastors are on call all the time. Whether it's a funeral or a wedding, which are all great things, or, you know, you have a teen come over to your house at 1 a.m. because they're suicidal. And like, you need to wake up and you need to be there for them. I mean, it's a blessing, but it can also weigh heavy on your heart, dealing with those things. And so that's kind of, that's hard, you know, and then when people, I don't know, because I don't have other experiences, but I've never had people come up to me and complain to me about something that my husband built, like as a builder. Like I've never had a homeowner come and complain to me about something
Right.
that he's did. But in ministry, people sometimes feel the need that they can come to me and complain about my husband, either whether they feel like I can make a difference. I don't know, but
You can fix him.
yeah, like I can fix it. Hello. Yes, Holy Spirit sometimes works through me, but you know, like that.
Yeah.
I think that is a heavy burden that I don't know.
Yeah, unique thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's not.
others wouldn't realize is a thing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Good. Yeah, I think going along with that too, like on 24/7, but also what I've heard other pastors' wives call like the fishbowl life.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the life on stage, like your whole family's on stage all the time.
Yeah.
I think that can be really challenging, feeling like you have to be perfect all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we know we're not perfect. We know that our kids aren't going to be perfect. But I think the heart of it is that we love Jesus and we're passionately following him and living into that and having, you guys and people like you said, Amy, to keep encouraging you and that kind of know what you're going through. I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
And I know this question, I feel like in some ways almost doesn't apply to me, but I'm sure it does. But, Josh never did anything else. He was already in ministry basically full time when we got married. And so, there was no ever being married to him as anybody else. So that's just the norm. But I still think, especially being that young and in ministry, there was struggles. And I think, one of the things that we've learned, it took us probably way too long to learn, is that there are things that you can't say no to because, like you said, it is like you are on call. He can't just say, I don't feel like playing guitar this Sunday.
I'm out.
But there are things you can say no to,
right.
Whether they're church things or even outside things. You need to learn how to guard your time a little bit better and guard your time together as a family. Because I think especially when you're young or when you're new to ministry, it's really easy to I'm just going to do it all. I'm just going to say yes to everything. I'm going to do things that aren't even my job. I'm going to do that. And that really quickly will wear you out. And then I think, like Katie was saying about the Fishbowl life, as a pastor's wife, this is something we all talked about a lot beforehand, was that there's a lot of expectations as to who or what we should be because our husbands are what they are.
Like you should be playing the piano.
Obviously.
or organ.
Yeah, wearing a cardigan and playing an organ, but that's not me. So, and I think the other side of that is it can almost be, especially when they are kind of in the spotlight, so to speak, that we can almost disappear and that we are just,
right.
Like I do have a name that's not just JB's wife, and I think that's something we talked about a lot too that was really, really stood out to me. And that, when someone first introduced you, you told a story of somebody introduced you as, this is my friend, Amy, not this is Pastor Brandon's wife.
Yeah. It wrecked me. Lisa, it wrecked me. It's like, wow, I do have, I do have an identity.
And I think that's just so important for us to remember and other people as well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm just glad that I know how to play the piano now.
There's no hope for me.
Yeah, no, not me either.
I'm not even going to try.
Who wants to play a game?
I can dance.
Right.
Do that.
Okay, and then our next question is that ministry can be a heavy load. We're not here to tell you that doesn't happen because it does. So we know it's likely that in the mess, our husbands can sometimes bring that home, or that mess gets carried over to us in our lives and in our homes and our children. So what are some ways that we are able to find and maintain joy in the midst of the mess? So I think for me is that, first off, like I said, that definitely does happen. It is messy sometimes. And especially I think this past year, trying to be a pastor during a pandemic. And for,
unique challenges.
My husband being thrown into the tech side of it and like, hey, guess what? We need, live services next week. Let's figure this out. That definitely added a lot of complications.
Yeah, pulled the midnight, 1 o'clock. Download, work.
But, for me, and I don't think it's necessarily something that I plan for or seek out, and I think we've seen this a lot here recently, is that anytime you show up at church, you're at a service and you're seeing salvations, or like last week we had 40 plus people baptized.
That was awesome.
I don't think any of us remember how many hours our husbands worked that week, or did they miss something, or were they home late, or whatever, or if things were stressful, And so that's why we do what we do. And so anytime that happens, I think that's a really good, just reminder that, okay, it's messy, but this is why we do this,
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, it's like holding that like new baby. Like, oh,
Right.
yeah, the last 9 months. Yeah, okay, that was a thing.
Worth it.
Right.
We did it.
Wow, look what we have now.
It's good.
It's good. That's really good.
Yeah, anybody else, Amy or Nicole?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, obviously, Lisa, what you said about just that salvations and seeing people come into a relationship with Jesus, that's going to trump anything that we do. But on a more like not spiritual level, I'm going to answer that question like
Do it.
for Brandon and I, it's having that thing that we enjoy doing outside of ministry life, because it can be consuming, which isn't bad though. I mean, to sit and hang out with you guys and your husbands and, hours and we're talking about ministry, like that's our norm and that's okay. But we also, like Brandon and I, like we enjoy disc golfing together. Enjoy, like we're getting into woodworking, so having those things that are separate hobbies from church world, which I think is in any position that you have, really. I mean, you need to have that something that gives you the freedom to do like hobbies. I mean, that's, So I guess that would be my answer.
I've learned a new word for that. Time blocking.
Oh, yes.
That is something I am really, really fresh at. But like you said, setting that time aside, and I'm learning how to do that with Joshua, but also with each one of my kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are definitely my value, so I want to put my schedule to line up with that.
Prioritize your values.
Yes, prioritizing my values. And so, but I also think that time together is so important, and so one of our hobbies is we love to go for walks and talk. That brings us both a lot of joy. Our bonfires are awesome at night when it's not like freezing cold outside. So I can't wait for bonfire night to come back. And then just for me personally, I love to dance. Like that is just a joy thing. And with Radiant Women's Fitness, it's been such a blessing. We have an amazing leadership team, and I just am blown away by how much God has just put that passion in me. And then it's just like, okay, I'm nervous every week to lead dance. But I'm also learning before courage, there's nervousness. So I'm also learning that I'm getting brave.
Fear experiments,
all these things. And so
that's what this is right here. A fear experiment.
Fear experiment.
We're doing it.
But I just love it. I love it. We're finding joy in the crazy seasons. It's good.
Yep, and I think that's the heart of what I was going to share too, is just gratitude. Just having a heart of gratitude and always searching for what's going to bring you joy. Just the little things or big things. Just always searching for that. And I think anyone can relate to that. It doesn't matter what your job is or where you are in life, but just searching for that.
I remember when you said, like, one day, like, I'm writing out a thank you list, and it was very detailed. Like, I'm thankful for this warm mug in my hand with this, steaming little bit of coffee coming out, and I'm just sitting in my comfy chair, something like details. And I was like, oh, man. I just go through the checklist sometimes. Husband, wife, kids, dog.
But to look for the little things.
Yeah.
Even when it seems heavy or life seems messy and hard, searching for those little bits of joy. It's good.
Yeah, that was a good thing. So now I look at it when my little 1-year-old's running. He's got long hair, so everybody thinks he's a girl.
I know what that's like.
I know, right? He's got like this beautiful hair and it's curly. And I was just watching him run away one time, because he runs everywhere. They don't know how to walk; they just run. And you could just see his curls bouncing. And I remember thinking, I need to put that on my thank you list. I am so thankful for beautiful, bouncy hair from a cute boy.
That's
Baby
awesome.
hair's the best.
Yes. It's joy.
Yes. Does anyone have anything else to add? We did it! Yay! Surprise! Yay. Thanks for hanging out with us and for our husbands for letting us crash this Radiant Reflections podcast. Blessings, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.